Strategic Planning, the Joe's Landscaping Story. Several years ago, Joe began his own landscaping business. Joe's goal was pretty simple: work part-time while he was employed elsewhere on a full-time basis. Joe planned to retire soon from his full-time employment and wanted a part-time job after he retired. He wanted to maintain quality over quantity work, though. Joe's Landscaping began as a sole proprietorship. His original goal was to work 10 hours for extra cash every week and would extend the hours after retirement if needed. He would possibly extend those hours up to 30 hours a week if it was required, and he wanted to keep the part-time job an enjoyable activity. Joe already owned several pieces of equipment for landscaping: a walking rototiller, a wheelbarrow, small tractor, a weed mower, and a small rototiller. Joe's work ethic was his integrity for the job, quality service, care for the wildlife. Joe refused to do any jobs that required soothing or burning fields. His fear of possibility of wildfires and or destruction of wildlife prevented him from these smoothing or burning of fields. Joe's business plan was pretty simple. Joe's scope of jobs that he would take included mowing fields, removing old turf, replanting lawns, seeding fields, rototilling gardens, and hauling scraps to recycling plants. Joe decided the business would not offer the following: sodding, lawn maintenance, pruning trees, and creating landscape beds. Joe's Landscaping grew from advertising through word of mouth, which created more jobs from customers selling Joe's services to other customers. Some of the extra work included mowing for churches, tilling their community gardens, and Joe would always offer discounted prices to the churches. The business expanded over the next few years, which required Joe to obtain a larger tractor, newer mowers, and a tiller. Joe began spending over 50 hours a week on his business. Joe began to realize he may have to fully retire. That's when Joe's son Hank joined the business as a co-owner. The father and son partnership began to form an LLC and change the name of the business.
Thank you, William. The offer has been made to purchase the company by one of our biggest customers. What we must research now is if we're going to sell the company to the other landscaping firm, or if we're going to keep the company. First, we'll look at the cons and then the pros of keeping and selling the business. Maribel, take it away.
And I'm here to discuss the cons of selling the business. One of them, Joe, would be losing his freedom, which he just got after retirement, he would be giving that up again if he sold the business to another company, because then he would be working under the company's name and he's not his own boss anymore. Another con would be he could lose potential income if the profits are all coming into this corporation that they're going to sell the company to. Another con would be reputation. Like, he's built this business by himself, and and his reputation's on the line. He probably doesn't want to lose that either. More cons of keeping the business would be the maintenance, all the tools and equipment that's being used to lawn mowing and clippings. All of that needs maintenance, and he needs to have somebody to take care of that. Another con would be, since it's a seasonal job, he would have to be hiring employees between May and November, because that's when he runs the business and it's an ongoing seasonal job. So he would have to keep up with hiring people, which that's part of the reason why they were struggling to begin with, and couldn't keep employees because it was a seasonal job. If another con was, if he kept the business, he could have some licensing that he would have to pay out of pocket and have to pay extra fees on that. Another con would be the lack of benefits. He wouldn't have any benefits if he kept the business, and it was a health issue that had came up for him as he's getting older. He'd probably be out of pocket for that expense as well. So that is a little bit of Joe and the cons of keeping and selling the business. I think that's everything.
Thank you, Maribel. Now Mark will present the pros of selling the business. Take it away, Mark.
Here we have are the pros for selling and pros for keeping Joe's Landscaping. First, the pros for selling the landscaping business. Time. Currently, right now, Joe and Hank are the only two steady employees, and they are currently investing quite a bit of time every day and every week to the company that they have built. And with selling, there's the possibility of Joe being able to retire, and especially he would be able to have a less harder work schedule if he were to sell the company to the larger landscaping company. Same goes for Hank. Hank would work less hours, and he would also benefit as in being able to spend more time with his family. So they would both be able to have set schedules and know when they're going to start work, when they're going to get off of work, as opposed to right now, they are currently working to the bone every single day because it's just the two of them that are consistently working for Joe's Landscaping, as opposed to if they were to sell to a bigger company. Another pro is the biggest obvious one, money. They would get paid from the bigger company what the company is worth. They would obviously sell their equipment to them, or most of their equipment to them, and they would benefit, financially from all those things. But that aside, they would have a steady income if they chose to continue to work for the company. They would have the security of knowing that they are getting a consistent paycheck and not having to worry about how much money they're going to send out to other people who were doing their financing, who were working for them seasonally, money for repairs. They wouldn't have to worry about having to eat the money for cancellations from customers, different things like that, as well as the people that were working for them outside of the business, like the accounting and things of that nature. And I think one of the biggest pros for selling the company is quality of life. Just overall, a better quality of life, because you're not having to have all the responsibilities of owning a small business, knowing that everything's on you, and knowing that you're going to be the one that has to set up these appointments. You're the one that's having to get these repairs done, and then figuring out when you can fit people in your schedule. If you sell, everything is taken care of for you, because the company, that's all the company's worries. Those things are off of your plate. That stress is off of your plate, and you're able to show up, work, and go home. Exactly, and you can still do exactly what you want to do while you're working, for the most part. That would be one of the biggest pros of selling. Now the pros for keeping Joe's Landscaping. Familiar. It's what you've been doing. It's what you built. It's the thing that you've been working for to get it to this point. So you know exactly what you're dealing with. You know exactly what you're doing, who you're dealing with, and who your customers are, and how they like things. And that's things that you're able to understand and know from the get-go. It's not something that you have to worry about trying to figure out a whole new set of customers if you keep your business. Quality of work. You know your quality of work. You know what you're able to do, what you're not able to do, what you're willing to do and not willing to do. By keeping Joe's Landscaping, you can continue to give that quality, that great quality of work that you've already established under your reputation of the customers that you've been working for, and you're able to give them exactly what they expect and know that it's going to be top notch. Last, you are the one that's in control. It's your business. You determine what's going to happen. You determine how things are going to happen, when they're going to happen. And no one else has a say in it besides you as the owner. And you can decide whether you want to do something or not do something. You can decide whether you want to take a day off or not take a day off. You are complete control of everything that happens within your company and with the work that you're giving out.
Thanks, Mark. Now I, Len Nelson, will be discussing the financials of Joe's Landscaping. In looking at the numbers, we can see that Joe's business last year had $162,000 in sales. Of those sales, day labors cost the company $1,035. Equipment maintenance and repairs accounted for $43,740, while fuel and oil came to a whopping $19,440. The business expenses themselves were $9,720. And then we look at depreciation on the equipment. Just going off of the tractors alone, looking at $33,334 in depreciation for the equipment last year. As well, we had $3,000 in accounting expenses to file our taxes. Total general expenses ended up at $110,269 of the $162,000. when we look at the overall picture, the company earned a little over $51,000 after expenses, depreciation, what have you. From May to November is the work cycle, so only 7-month cycle. In this 7 months, there's approximately 29 weeks. If we look that they're working each 50 hours per week times 29 weeks, they're working on average 1,450 hours during this period of time. This equates to $25,865.50 apiece to be split for their wages prior to taxes. This equates to only $17.84 per hour with no benefits. In conclusion, I'd like to look at the final results that Group A will present to Joe and his son. We believe it is in the best interest of them to negotiate the sale of the company. Based upon pros and cons and the financials, it does not seem like a viable option to not take an offer if acceptable. We believe the company's tractors are worth $50,000, and all the other equipment, lawn care, chainsaws, trailers, what have you, is worth another $75,000. What we believe is a fair value for the company's business is $81,000. This $81,000 represents 5 years of current revenue at 10%. So overall, they would get a lump sum payment of $81,000 for a total asking price of $206,000. We would suggest that they go no lower than $200,000 in the sale. And then as far as future work, we believe that they should also go into an agreement with the purchasing company that they will have positions available if they want them, with a 3 to 5 year clause in there stating if they are let go for undue cause, that they would continue to receive benefits for the remainder of this clause period. Overall, from a management standpoint, a strategic management standpoint, though they're going to lose things from the control side of their business and how their business motto is, especially, as others have discussed, we need to ensure that overall that it's in the best interest of both of them financially to get something out of the hard work that they put in. They will have to give up the opportunity to control things, but at the end of the day, they can always go out and find other jobs, especially at the wages they're making currently doing what they're doing. Please post any questions that you have, and we'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present today. On behalf of Group A, we thank you for your participation. Have a great day. Bye-bye.